listening to The Runaround with Brad Jager and Greg Jubb. On Baltimore's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 1300 AM.
This is Greg Jubb alongside Brad Jager for another installment of Running Maryland's The Runaround here on ESPN 1300 AM, the only show made by runners and track athletes and endurance athletes. For runners, track athletes, and endurance athletes. As always, the show is brought to you by Halliburton Sports. If you're looking for the widest array of running shoes and gear, check out Halliburton Sports online at halliburtonsports.com or visit their Baltimore showroom on Pulaski Highway today. And also be sure to check us out at runningmaryland.com for all the latest news, results, rankings, photos, videos, and more. Or if you're interested in having your race or event managed by one of the premier race management companies in the Mid-Atlantic region, visit us online. Just think we can manage your event and then recreate it online. That's our motto, right, Brad?
Yeah, that's pretty good. It keeps us busy.
And at the very least, we can mention your race on the Runaround here on ESPN. Big week this week. Outdoor tracks kicking in, Brad.
We've been working 24/7 before this, and now we're trying to find that 8th day of the week to find some more time to get the work in. It's been crazy. With the heat the first part of the week and the rain the second part of the week, athletes didn't really know what to expect, or the people covering the events really didn't know what to expect. Started off at Clarksburg High School on Friday night for the Coyote Invitational. 85 degrees and sunny, made for a wonderful first meet for everybody. The highlight of that meet was Josh Ellis of Walter Johnson winning the mile in 4:20. The most amazing thing of that, he went out in 2:05, 3:09, and then suffered a little bit that last 400.
71-second last lap, huh?
Yeah, nobody was even close. We kept thinking he was going to come back, but he kept chugging along. So,
do you think that was related to him going out so fast? Do you think that was related to the heat that was that day or the nice weather? Do you think he just took it out thinking like, I'm going to take advantage of this weather and try to go for a fast time, or he's just kind of settling in now that it's outdoor track? The training's kicking in, and he's trying to set a fast pace.
I tried to interview him after the race, but he was just blubbering a lot. He really didn't have a lot to say.
He was exhausted.
Couldn't talk very much. The Walter Johnson girls went 9:45 without their A team in there, so they've got something good to look forward to. And Saturday, all of us were out there for 3 different races in the rain, in the cold.
Talk about a change of pace. Leading up to the weekend, everything, Monday through Friday, it was gorgeous. Unseasonably warm. Made me a little bit uncomfortable as a distance runner. Sometimes I like somewhere in like 65 degrees. That's perfect. 82, 83 in Baltimore, and then some humidity. Yikes. And then a drastic change on Saturday.
Well, considering I went to the race in a T-shirt and it was 55 degrees and raining, I had a wonderful day standing out there. So
I hope you had an umbrella because it poured.
Oh, yeah. I stood inside the shed after a while, just timed to be there.
There you go.
I was down at the Wise Puma Invitational down in PG County, highlighted by the return of Ron Darby of Potomac, who was out all indoor season, national leader in the 55 dash. And he had a groin injury all winter long, and Ron's really a football player, so he wanted to rest that injury up a little bit. Came back winning the 100 for his first race in 10:9.5. And didn't quite win the 200, ran 22:37 for second in back of David Winter of Suitland, who ran 22:16. And it was rainy and cold, so that's a darn good time early in the season.
Yeah, that changes things for sprints for sure.
Dondre Eccles of Potomac doubled in the 110 hurdles in 14.3 and the 300 hurdles in 38.3. He was second place at the national championships for indoor track, lost by 1/100th of a second in the 60 hurdles. Now with him and Darby, and they have 2 other good runners on their team, they're going to be a strong 4x100 team all season long. At Urbana Relays, which you were at, Greg, Tamara Ovajera of Thomas Johnson threw 129 in the rain for the discus. She threw 144 for the discus earlier in the week in a league meet. It's an incredible toss for early this season. Those Thomas Johnson people have a heck of a field event team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Lewis was over at the Screaming Eagles Invitational with the Northwest girls, the highlight of that meet at 1:42.8 in the 800 relay. So we all dried out a little bit and hoping for a better week this week. So.
Yeah, and I looked at the forecast, the 10-day forecast, as reliable as that is, who knows.
Right.
But looks like it's going to be 60s all week, so leading up to the Invitationals this weekend.
Yep.
Could be fantastic weather, at least for distance runners. I know the sprinters like the 85-degree weather, certainly not the rainy weather, so it's an improvement. But yeah, moving forward, let's talk about what happened on the pro circuit this weekend. Before I do that, speaking of pros, I didn't mention earlier, later on the show, we're going to have Frankie Wright, a Baltimore native, Mervo High School grad that was on the U.S. team that won the gold medal in the 4x400 meter relay at this year's World Indoor Track and Field Championships. He's going to be talking to us in a little bit about his experience and really I didn't expect a Baltimore native to be on an international class team, much less a gold medalist. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, graduated from University of Oklahoma, and just teammates at Mervo High School, and who runs at Morgan State, said, hey, why don't you get Frankie on? So I said, hey, we gave him a call, and he's going to be on later on today.
Very cool stuff. And as we broadcast just miles away from the city line, or I don't know how close we are, it's always a cool thing. Our producer says 1 mile away. It's always a cool thing to have Baltimore natives doing very, very big things. The Lisbon half marathon in Portugal, Shalane Flanagan wins it in 1 hour and 8 minutes and 51 seconds. She won the Houston half in 2012. She also was the U.S. Olympic trials champion a few months ago in Houston. Pretty cool stuff. She was the 2008 Olympic bronze medalist, and she is just coming on strong. I know as her career was progressing, she was focusing on the 10K. It looks like she stepped up to the half marathon and marathon distances. And who knows, in the 2012 Olympic Games coming up quickly, she's shaping up nicely. And let me ask you this, Brad. You ran some longer distance races back in the day. At what point are these guys going to start tapering down and stepping away from the races and really start focusing on the London Games as the premier race?
Well, first they got to focus on the trials. You know, they've been through the trials. I would say maybe about 2 months out, they're going to start getting away from racing and just concentrating on tapering a little bit and refining their training for the races.
Yeah. I mean, she really ran against a strong international field, like the Kenyans and Ethiopians were there. I think the nearest competitor let's look at the results here right quick. Diana Chepkemoi of Kenya running 1 hour, 9 minutes and 8 seconds. So, I mean, right behind her, really. But nonetheless, I mean, the American marathoners and half marathoners, ever since Dina Castor came along and really impressed us at the 2004 Olympic Games, have stepped up their game as well. So hopefully we'll see something pretty cool with the 2012 Olympics in London coming up.
Well, now that trampolining is in the Olympics, at what point do you think the half marathon is going to be added to the Olympic?
That's a good question. I mean, the problem is sometimes they think of the Olympics in terms of coverage. How many people are actually going to sit and watch a 2 hour and 15-minute race, you know? I can. I love the marathon. I love distance running. And, you know, sometimes people's, you know, personal opinions and taste for what they want to watch on TV changes with the Olympic Games because everyone loves watching, you know, someone compete for their nation. So hopefully that changes. Because the half marathon really is a different game. And it deserves to be recognized as a separate distance. You know, just running the marathon may not do half marathoners justice.
As they keep adding events, and as we said before, that the half marathon, it's a new 5K. So there seems to be more and more people running world-class times in the half marathon.
And when you mentioned trampolining, I thought you were going to say, when is Shalane Flanagan finally going to hop on the trampolining circuit? We don't know that. Can we predict that? Who knows? Let's talk about something on the opposite side of the spectrum here. Wallace Spearman runs a 19.95 in the 200 meters in March. Crushes Jeremy Warner, who was second in 20.53 seconds. But really, Warner's a 400-meter runner, and ever since he switched coaches, he really hasn't been the same. But Wallace Spearman, seriously, 19.95 in March has got to be getting him excited for the Olympic Games as well. I know we're bringing everything back to the Olympics, but that's really the competition that everyone is focusing on right now. No one's really thinking, oh, can I win this race? Can I win the Prefontaine Classic? Can I win this? Everyone's thinking, am I tapering correctly?
You almost wonder if
the 2012 games.
You almost wonder if 1996 is a peaking type of time for Spearman at this point. It's a little scary.
Well, you know, I'm gonna argue with you on that one and say that Wallace Spearman, our producer Lewis pointed out earlier, that he's the 5th fastest all time in the 200 meters ever, 19.65 seconds. Now, mind you, at the 2008 Olympics, he was the bronze medalist running against greats like Usain Bolt.
Right.
But he was disqualified for a lane violation. So, I mean, he can really effectively get down to those elite times that will put him on the Olympic podium. But I think it's exciting that, I mean, really, the weather has been extremely nice. That does affect sprint times. But for this early, I mean, for him mentally, as an athlete, running that fast this early has got to be setting him up nicely.
Once we get to the trials, it's going to see who isn't injured at that point. You know, does Tyson Gay come back? Is Gatlin okay? Can he go up to the 200 meters? There's a lot of questions out there to be answered.
Yeah, and let's talk about Gatlin for a little bit too. I mean, he won the World Championships in the 60. I mean, he's looking good.
Yeah.
Has a bad record with, you know, performance-enhancing drugs. He's back now. He served his time.
Right.
So let's hope he continues to do well. Leo Manzano, moving into middle distance now, runs a 3:55.98 mile at the Manzano Mile, the event named after him. And
How convenient.
But it's a nice little event here. He raised he was going to raise $1,000 for every second he runs under 4-minute pace. And with that 355, he raised a nice chunk of change for charity.
Right.
And it was pretty warm down there. I heard it was 80-some degrees, but he is a University of Texas grad. He's used to that weather. But what's funny to watch about him, and I love watching good milers, is sometimes you see guys like, Matthew Senchowitz or, Asbel Kiprop and Silas Kiplagat. When they go out and they kick in the final portion of a race, last 200, last 100, they lengthen their stride. It looks very powerful. Leo Manzano looks like, the Roadrunner or something. He's got such a short, choppy stride. He's a short guy. He's about 5'5". But, he can really turn on the heat when it comes to closing.
Turnover. There's another guy I know named Jub who has that short, choppy step.
You will not leave me alone for that. It works for me, okay? Leave me alone. Just kidding with you. Robbie Andrews and Alan Webb. There's been talk on Let'sRun.com about them training together under Jason Vigilante, the former coach at University of Virginia. Is this a good training duo? What do you think, Brad?
It's got to help Webb more than it's going to help Andrews. Webb needs somebody to train with and needs somebody to push him. I think Andrews is probably going to be the right guy. He's from New Jersey. He's got that Jersey attitude about him with his training. So I think between the three of them, we're going to see Webb start dropping sometimes.
Yeah, he's got to have something. And Webb is someone who operates very well alone. But I think something like this would be good for him. I think Jason Vigilante, one thing I'd like to see him correct in Robbie Andrews, and especially now that he's professional, he's no longer running with the collegiate guys. He's going to be running with guys that if he sits in the back of the pack and tries to outkick them, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work, right.
So he's got to work his way up. I mean, if he's running the 800, at 600, he can't be in dead last. He's got to be in that pack. Now, granted, his kick is vicious. And, he says that his secret to success in really having that blazing fast kick is taking 3 or 4 quick steps and then really getting rolling. I mean, it's something else. If you watch it, it's a work of art. But, he's really going to have to change his strategy when it comes to it.
When the top guys are running 24, 25 for that last 200, he's not going to be able to run 22 to come from the back of the pack to pass everybody.
Yeah, well, that's a kicker's race, too. Sometimes the 800 is interesting in the fact that, someone who's kicking is really not picking up the pace. It's a matter of who's holding on better. Or who's not slowing down the most, I should say. But anyway, interesting talk nonetheless. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the Celebrating Heroes Triathlon, which benefits MedStar National Rehabilitation Network. It involves Tri-Columbia. We're going to talk to Bob Vigorito about that in just a minute.